And closing our eyes, bringing our hands to our knees or our thighs, making sure our spine is long, our neck is long, chest is lifted, shoulders are relaxed. And start to become aware of your breath. Come into this space, letting all other thoughts go. Just paying attention to how you feel. Notice if there's any tension in your body. And then send your breath to that place. Starting to engage our Ujjayi breath, the breathing in and out through the nose. On our exhale, constricting the back of the throat a little bit. Deepening our breath with every inhale. Inhaling all the way into the belly, filling up the chest, the diaphragm. And exhaling, letting it go, maybe sighing it all out here. A few more deep breaths like that. Inhale, filling up. Exhale, letting it go. Throughout the practice, just remembering to listen to your body, not pushing yourselves too much so that you injure yourself, but playing around with what you're comfortable with and pushing yourself a little bit, maybe to be uncomfortable. Slowly opening our eyes and coming to child's pose. So taking the knees wide apart, bringing the toes to touch, and then sinking your hips down and back and letting your chest and your head hang heavy on the ground here. Bringing the knees closer together if it's too much on the inner thighs, or wider for a deeper stretch. Walking out those fingertips to lengthen your spine. And then just rest heavy here. Feel the weight of your body on the ground. Finding your breath. Maybe taking a second to set an intention here. Maybe it's to feel light. Maybe it's to be really strong, or just to stay present during the class. Whatever it is for you. Just asking yourself why you're here this morning. A few more breaths here. And then slowly making your way to a tabletop position. So shoulders right over wrists. Hips spread over knees. Knees are hip width distance apart. Finding that neutral spine here. We're going to walk out our wrists. So picking up our right hand, turning our fingertips out to the side, and then doing the same with the left hand. So always keeping the wrist right under the shoulders, just walking out the hands one at a time. So then turning them, fingertips back to face you, being really gentle here, left side, and then placing them back to the front. And then just going through that a few times. Maybe when you get to one spot, you shift your weight back and forth on your wrist, just going really gentle here, not pushing it too much. One more time, going through that. Spreading your fingertips really wide here, pressing all of your hand into the mat. Once you get back to center, we're going to flip our palms so the back of our hand is on the ground, going one at a time. So flipping the right palm and then hinging ourselves back a little bit, just as much as you feel a nice little stretch. Being really gentle with our wrist here. And then placing that right hand on the ground, flipping the left palm up, and gently rocking back and forth. Flipping our palms, and then taking a few circles, leaning our weight more forward into our hands and around and back, and then switching directions. And then coming back into that neutral tabletop position, fingertips spread wide. And then come into some cat and cow. So inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest and your tailbone. Inhale here. And exhale, rounding the spine, pushing away the ground with your hands, chin to chest. Inhale, belly drops, chest lifts. Exhale, round the spine. And just going on your own breath here. Maybe rocking the hips side to side, coming into some circles with your tailbone. Just doing whatever feels good to wake up your spine here. And then finding that neutral tabletop position again. Planting the right hand on the ground, we're going to lift our left hand, reach it out in front of us. Keeping the left knee on the ground, lifting that right leg. So opposite leg, opposite hand, reaching forward and back. Pulling the core in here. Neck is neutral. Lifting through that arm, through the leg. And then see if you can reach around, grabbing for your foot here. So opening up the chest, pushing into our hand. If you can't reach it, just reaching far back as you can. If you can, just pushing that hand away with our foot, reaching up. Few breaths here. And exhale, planting that hand and knee back down and taking a few cat and cows here. And switching sides, so planting that left hand into the ground, that right knee, lifting the right arm and extending the left leg behind us. Core is really engaged here, making one straight line with your leg, your arm, your body here. Flexing those toes, engaging every muscle in our bodies right now. And then reaching back with that hand, try to grab your foot, opening up the chest, lifting through our foot, looking back over that shoulder, lifting here, and exhale, plant your hand in your knee, and just rock out the spine. Tucking our toes here, lifting our hips into downward facing dog. Spreading the fingertips really wide, pressing all of your palms into the mat. Lifting our tailbone to the sky, bringing our hips to the back of the room. And walking out our dog here, bending one knee and then the other. Dropping our heels side to side. Bending the knees as much as you need to here. And then finding some stillness. So finding your pose. And then just holding it here. Gazes in between our toes. Focusing on that ujjayi breath, breathing through our nose. Shoulder blades are down and back into our backs. And then slowly we're going to walk our feet one by one all the way up to our hands, coming into a forward fold. So bending your knees as much as you need to, grabbing opposite elbows and letting the upper body hang heavy here. Shaking the head, yes and no. Opening the jaw, knees, clenching all your facial muscles and letting them go. Swaying side to side here. Slowly just waking up the body. And then releasing your hands, slowly rolling all the way up to standing. Gently going all the way up. And finding our Tadasana. So spreading our toes wide on the ground. Feet can be hip width distance or closer together. Dropping our shoulders down and back. Core is engaged. Tailbone is neutral. Letting our hands fall to our sides. Feeling really strong here. Maybe closing our eyes. Imagine there's a string pulling the crown of your head upwards. Lengthening your spine. Feeling really strong and light here. And then inhale, we're going to reach our arms up over our head, reaching up, looking up. And exhale, we forward fold, fingertips in line with toes, letting go of the head here. Inhale, we're going to come to halfway lift, so bringing your hands either to your shin or the floor, or even a block if you have one, making the back really flat, bringing the shoulders down and back, sending the tailbone to the back of the room as our crown of the head reaches forward. Core is engaged here. Exhale, forward fold. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Planting those hands on the ground. Stepping back. Finding our plank position. So shoulders are right over our wrists. Heels are right over the toes. Belly is pulled in. Neck is in a neutral position, so gazing a few inches in front of our fingertips. And really engaging our core here, and our legs, our arms, shoulders are down in our backs. So not hunching into the shoulders, but really pushing up, pushing the ground away with our arms. And then pushing back to downward dog. Pushing our hips back. Staying a few breaths here. Always coming to child's pose throughout the practice if you need to. Inhale, coming back to that plank position. Planting that right hand into the ground. We're going to open up, coming to a side plank. So planting the right hand, peeling open the left arm. Finding our side plank here. So we want one line from our planted hand all the way up to our lifted arm. Maybe lifting the leg or bring the leg to tree pose. Core is engaged, lifting through our obliques here. And then stepping the top leg just behind the knee. And then lifting our hips even higher, pressing into that hand, opening up our chest, looking to the sky. And exhale, planting that hand, stepping that leg through to our hands. Coming on the ball, that back foot, lifting up into crescent warrior, crescent lunge. So back leg straight here, hips are squared to the front, knees right over our ankle, lifting our arms here, reaching out of our hips, and breathing here. Bringing our hands to heart center as we hinge our upper bodies forward, and then we're going to go ahead and hook that right arm on the outside of our left leg. So really pushing our hands together to twist our torsos. Inhaling, we lengthen our spines. Exhale, twisting deeper. One more breath here. And then planting those hands, stepping back into our high plank, shifting our weight forward and slowly lowering all the way down to the ground. Hands planted right underneath our shoulders. Inhaling up to cobra. Exhale brings us down. And then either going back up to cobra or to upward dog. So for upward dog, bringing your hands a little bit lower down, hugging those elbows in, coming to the backs of your feet, and lifting all the way up here. Inhaling. And then exhale, finding our way back to downward facing dog. So breathing here. For a few breaths. And then shifting our weight, coming back into our plank position. Engaging that core. And then planting the left hand this time, peeling open the right arm, finding our side plank on this side. So pushing the ground away to lift our hips. Core is really engaged here. Again, bringing the leg up, keeping it there. You can always make a kickstand with your leg or dropping your knee if you need to, finding your variation. And then dropping that foot behind our knee to help us lift our hips even higher, opening the chest to the ceiling. And exhale, plant your hands, step that lifted leg through, finding crescent lunge, lifting our torsos up, heels over toes, back leg is straight, bending into that front knee, lifting out of our hips here. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center, hinging at the hips, hooking that left elbow, the outside of our right knee, opening up here for a twist. Inhale, growing longer in the spine. Exhale, twisting even deeper, using our hands to help us twist. And exhale, plant your hands, stepping back, flowing through this time. Inhaling to upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale to downward facing dog. And staying here for a few breaths. Always remembering child pose is an option. On our next inhale, we're gonna reach our right leg to the sky, keeping our hips closed and squared to the ground, lifting our leg only as high as we can without opening our hips yet. So keeping our hips squared, reaching the foot up. And exhale, bringing our right knee to our right elbow. So shifting our weight forward, bringing our knee to our elbow. And exhale brings us back to three-legged dog. Inhale, bringing our right knee to our left elbow. Core is engaged here, shifting our way forward. And inhale, lifts us back up. Exhale, bring our knee to our nose this time. So hugging in our core, bringing our knee up as high as we can. And exhale, bring it back up. Three-legged dog. One more time into our chest. Pulling everything in. And then stepping that foot through our hands. Sealing that back foot. Lifting up into warrior one here. So hips are squared to the front. Back foot. You can stay on the ball of your foot if you can't put your heel down. But lifting through those hips. Finding our warrior one here. So breathing for a few breaths. Bending into that front knee. And then on our next inhale, we're going to shift our weight into this front foot, coming to find our warrior three. So shifting our weight, lifting that back leg up, and bring our hands to heart center, or reaching them forward, maybe bringing them down and back beside our hips. But lifting our chest here, using the glutes and core to lift our leg. And then exhale, bringing that leg down to meet our front foot, finding a forward fold. So bringing our fingertips in line with our toes, dropping the head here, weight is in the front of our feet. And just hanging here, catching our breath. And then slowly rolling all the way back up to standing. Finding that mountain pose again, really strong here. And breathing here. Inhale, we're going to lift our arms up over our head. Exhale, forward fold through the center. Inhale, coming to halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, stepping back and flowing through to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So hanging out here for a few breaths, finding our down dog. Reaching our hips up and back. Driving our heels down to the floor. And on our next inhale, we're going to lift our left leg up to the sky, keeping our hips square to the ground. Inhaling here. And exhale, bringing our left knee to our left elbow, shifting our weight forward, hugging our knee up as close to our tricep as we can. And exhale, send your leg back, three-legged dog. Inhale, left knee to right elbow, so twisting, pulling that knee up as far as you can, using our core. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, knee to nose, hugging everything in. Exhale, send it back. One more time, inhale, hugging everything in, knee to nose, and stepping that foot through our hands. Sealing that back foot, lifting ourselves up into warrior one. So hips are squared here. Bending into that front knee, lifting our arms up and finding this pose. And then on our next inhale, shifting our weight to our front leg, finding our warrior three. So using our leg here and our core to lift us up, finding whatever variation with your arms feels good. Trying to keep our hips square to the ground, slight bend in the standing leg. Inhaling here. And exhale, coming into that forward fold, so dropping that leg. This time taking your peace fingers, wrapping them around your big toes. Help us fold a little deeper. So pulling on those toes, letting the head hang heavy here. Bending the knees as much as you need to. And just breathing here. And then releasing those fingers, rolling all the way back up to standing. Finding our Tadasana again. So toes spread wide, feet really planted here. This time bringing the big toes to touch. Our heels can be a little bit wider. And we're gonna go ahead and sink our hips back, finding our chair pose. So sinking those hips back, bending into those knees, making sure the knees are behind the toes, and then lifting through the chest. So pulling the core in here, lifting through the chest. Weight using the heels of the feet. Inhaling here. And exhale, forward fold. Separating our feet to mat distance. We're finding your toes pointed outward a little bit, and then dropping down into our Malasana here. So you can put a block or blanket under your heels if you need to, or you can stay up on the balls with the feet, maybe rocking side to side. And then just finding that pose, lengthening our spine, pushing our hands together to help us lift. Inhaling here. And exhale, planting your hands, stepping back into a high plank, flowing through Chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. So this time inhaling our right leg to the sky, and we're going to open our hip this time. So rolling, open the hips, stacking the hips, bringing the heel to the butt, bringing the knee to the sky, planting those hands into the ground, keeping our chest square to the ground as best we can. And then go ahead and step your leg through, dropping the back knee, coming into a low lunge here. So inhaling, our arms lift, knees behind toes. Shoulders are relaxed. And then dropping our hands on the inside of our feet, our foot, and then opening up for lizard here. So maybe pushing that knee away with your right hand, opening up the chest. Maybe you reach back and grab that back foot. Or just staying in lizard. Maybe coming to your forearms. And then pushing our arms back out, coming back onto our hand, framing that front foot, stepping back, flowing through Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So finding our pose here. Fingertips spread wide. Or inhaling with the left leg to the sky. And rolling open that hip. Bring the heel to the butt, lifting that knee. pressing through those hands, and then stepping that foot in between our hands, lowering our back knee down to the ground, inhaling our arms up, finding low lunge, knee behind toes, core is pulled in here, so not sagging into the back, but lifting your core. And then bringing our hands back down onto the inside of our foot, finding our lizard pose. So just playing around with whatever feels good here. And then from here, we're going to find a forearm plank. So if you can drop down to your forearms and then just shimmy that foot behind you and then find your way to a forearm plank. So making sure the shoulders are right over the elbows and that your forearms stay facing forward, their shoulder width apart, pressing into those forearms and hands, keeping the core engaged, gazing at the top of the fingertips. Breathing here, really pressing into those forearms, lifting the core here, making sure the butt isn't raising into the sky or sagging, but you're really using all of your body muscles. And then drop the knees, open up the knees a little bit, sink your hips back into child pose. So breathing here, slowing down your breath a little bit. Maybe thinking back on that intention you set. Noticing how your body feels different from the start. And then slowly walking our hands back up, we're going to find our way to a seated position. Coming into a little more core work here. So finding where you can balance on your butt. So bringing your heels to the ground, already engaging that core and lifting through the chest, but just finding where on your sit bone, where on your butt is comfortable and you can balance. And then we're going to go ahead and find our bow pose. So you can stay like this, keeping your heels on the ground, chest is lifted, core is engaged always. You can lift your knees a little bit, keeping them bent, maybe placing the hands on the ground, lifting them, or straightening the legs. I'm giving you all the options. You find what works for you. And so we're going to hold here whatever version you would like. Core is really engaged, lifting through the chest, breathing here. And then releasing, hugging our knees, maybe rocking back and forth on our sit bones here. And then coming back to that bow pose right away, lifting through the chest, holding here, and then we're going to lower down all the way, legs are long, chest is still lifted, and then inhaling back to that bow, exhale, lowering down, inhale, pulls us back up, exhale, lowering down, inhale in, one more time, exhale, holding here at the bottom, you got it, you are strong, lifting that chest, core engaged, and then lifting up and hugging our knees. Coming onto our backs now, we're gonna do a little prep for our crow pose. So we're just gonna find our crow pose, but on our backs. So just helping our muscles get familiar with all the engagements. So coming onto your back, bringing your knees into your chest. We're going to extend our hands to the sky. Imagine you're pushing the ceiling away. So pushing through your hands, really feeling your arms engage here. And then bringing the knees in and as close to your triceps as you can. You want your core engaged. And then lift your shoulders off the ground. So you're pushing the ceiling away, bringing everything into this tight ball, pointing your toes, knees as far up your triceps as you can, core really engaged. And then releasing, hugging our knees into our chest, rocking side to side. We're going to come into that one more time. So make sure we're lifting our chest and our shoulders here, pushing the ceiling away, bringing our knees as close to our triceps, squeezing everything in, pointing those toes, looking up at our hands. And exhale, release, hugging our knees to chest. And then slowly start to rock yourself up and back. And then we're going to find our way to downward facing dog. So whatever that looks like for you. So finding our way to downward dog. Always dropping to child's pose if you need to. Breathing here for a few breaths. And then we're going to hop or step to the front of our mat. So bending the knees, stepping or hopping, hinging our hands to a forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing, arms reach overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're going to open our legs a little bit, coming back into our Malasana squat. So we've been here before, you know where we're going. And now we are going to set up for a crow pose. So just playing around here, planting your hands right underneath your shoulders, coming onto the balls of your feet here. You're going to lift your hips up and then just start to shift your weight forward onto those hands, keeping the knees on your triceps above your elbow. So anywhere on your tricep, the higher, the better, but more challenging. So really planting those fingertips wide. You're going to shift your weight forward, maybe lifting one foot and then the other, lifting through those shoulders. So pushing those shoulder blades down and back. And again, lifting that chest here too. So just playing around here, maybe finding that balance, coming up. So pulling our feet into our butts. We want to squeeze everything into one ball. So using our core and our arm strength here to pull us in. Pushing through those hands to lift us up. And then just playing around here, maybe coming back to Malasana. Shaking out your wrists. Maybe trying one more time. Coming back into that crow. And then planting our hands, stepping back, finding our chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. So staying here for a few breaths, lifting our hips to the back of the room. Our chest is melting towards our thighs. Inhale, we're going to lift our right leg to the sky. Exhale, stepping it through our hands, and then just pivoting on into half Malasana. So coming to our right side, bringing our hands to heart center here, Maybe dropping the heel down if that's there, or staying on the ball of your foot, but lifting through the chest. And then dropping our hands, walking ourselves over to the left side. Hands to heart center. And then walking our hands back to the front, coming back into that low lunge, dropping the back knee, and extending that right leg, coming to half split on the right side. So flexing those toes, still lifting through the chest. Hips are square. And then walking our fingertips back, we're going to plant our hands and lift back into that three-legged dog. So lifting that right leg back up to the sky. We're going to come into another arm balance here. So you can watch me or you can follow along with my words. So from your down dog, we're going to shift our way forward, coming into a high plank position with our knee lifted to our elbow. So coming to that position that we came in the beginning for our core work. And then placing your knee on top of your tricep here, using this elbow underneath your hip. So shifting your weight forward. So this tricep actually is like underneath your body right here. And then this elbow is holding up this knee. So shifting that weight forward, and then first extending that right leg, and then just picking up with that left, seeing if you can find that balance. You want to be in chaturanga arms, so lowering halfway down here, and just playing around with that. So coming back to three-legged dog, shifting your weight forward, maybe finding a little balance. And then always come to child's pose if you need a little rest. Taking a few more seconds to play around here. And then finding child's pose. So bringing our knees wide, our toes touching, and just resting our upper body here. Deep inhale and exhale through the nose. And then when you're ready, pushing back into downward facing dog. And lifting our hips to the ceiling. Inhale, we're going to lift our left leg to the sky. And exhale, step it through in between our hands, pivoting on into Hapalasana again. So coming on the left side first. And then walking our fingertips over to the right side. Holding here. And then exhale, walking our fingertips back to the left. And then pivoting back to find that low lunge, dropping that knee. And then sending our hips back, finding half split on the left side this time. So flexing the toes here, hips sending to the back of the room. And just breathing here. And then walking our hands back forward, freeing that front foot, lifting it back into three-legged dog, and then coming into the arm balance on this side. So again, starting from three-legged down dog, shifting our weight forward, bringing the knee to our tricep, bringing the right side of our body on top of that left arm. So I'll move this arm. So this side of the body is on this arm here. And then I'm leaning my weight forward, bringing my head almost touching to the ground, maybe touching it to the ground, seeing if that helps with your balance, and then lifting it once you get that leg up. So shifting our weight and really engaging the core here, using that strength we built up. Maybe walking up the wrists when you're done. I know it's a little hard on the wrists. And then finding our way back to child's pose. Again, so taking our knees wide, sinking our hips back, and breathing here. And then rolling ourselves back up, finding our way onto our backs. So bring ourselves down, hugging our knees into our chest, and then rocking ourselves back and forth. Finding a reclined pigeon here, so bringing our legs to tabletop position, bringing the right ankle on top of the left thigh, and then grabbing through our legs, interlacing our fingers under our thigh or over the shin, finding your variation here, just relaxing the upper body, finding this nice hip opener, and breathing here. And then from here, dropping our legs to our left side, coming into a supine twist, so opening up those arms, looking over our right fingertips, maybe bringing the thighs closer together, finding whatever leg variation feels good for you, making sure the shoulder blades are both on the ground, and relaxing into this pose. And then slowly bring our legs back to center, unraveling our legs, letting them drop, coming into a full body stretch, so reaching up above our heads, pointing with our toes, stretching the whole body. And then bring our knees back into our chest, maybe rocking side to side. And again, bringing our legs back into that tabletop position. This time, bringing our left ankle on top of the right thigh, coming into figure four, interlacing our fingers, grabbing through our thigh or on our shin, wherever feels comfortable, and relaxing the upper body here. And breathing here. And then dropping our legs to the right side this time, opening up our arms, gazing to our left fingertips, finding that supine twist, coming to leopard leg variation. Works for you. Both of the shoulder blades onto the ground. And bringing our knees back into our chest, hugging in really tight. So wrapping our arms around our legs, bringing our forehead to our knees, squeezing everything in, contracting everything. And then releasing everything down to the ground, finding our Shavasana pose, letting the feet drop out to the sides, allowing our arms to rest by our bodies, palms facing up, making any last adjustments you need to get comfortable here in this pose. And then just finding some stillness, slowing down our breath, finding the natural rhythm of our breath again. Relaxing every part of the body, from our toes all the way up to our facial muscles. Just letting everything rest heavy, feeling the weight of our body on our mats. And melting down into the ground. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. But just being here, breathing. Slowly starting to wiggle our fingers and our toes, our ankles, our wrists, just making small, slow movements. Dropping our head side to side. And then reaching arms over our head, coming into a full body stretch. And then rolling on to your favorite side, resting our head on our arm or on the forehead, bringing our knees up to our chest. Taking a few moments here. And then really pushing yourselves up, coming to find a comfortable seated position, keeping our eyes closed. Bringing our hands to our thighs or our knees, keeping the spine long. Bringing our hands together and bringing them to our heart center. Noticing how you feel right now. Thinking back on that intention you set. And bringing this feeling forward into the rest of your day. These calm, quiet vibes. Always remembering you can go back to your breath at any point throughout the day. And bringing our hands to our third eye center. I acknowledge the light in all of